So the 2 mile handicap up next here at Kempton. We're looking at Bassinet, who's been in really good form recently for the Eve Johnson Horton stable, winning twice at Chelmsford. Obviously keeps going up in the handicap, up £3, but he won his only start over 2 miles, so it's possible he might have a little bit more over this trip to come. And you can't doubt his heart and his good form at the moment. So Bassinet, definitely a contender here. Drop back and find horse number 5, which is Oriental Art for David Simcock. Callum Shepherd has taken the ride. He's up to 2 miles for the first time today. Didn't run too badly when he was third at Wolverhampton a week ago over 1.5 miles. He's a pound lower than that run at Wolverhampton, but obviously has to prove that he definitely stays this trip. Just looking at a few behind over to my left, horse number 3 is Thibault for Adam West. He's actually never won on the all-weather, though he didn't run badly when he was 4th at Lingfield last month. He's actually a pound lower today. Might have a run at Ascot in a couple of weeks' time on his agenda. Thibault too, obviously he's run and won a few decent prices over hurdles, has been placed in a chase race as well. Behind him is horse number 4, First Charge, for Mark Loughnane. One of a mark is 73 in November 2021, but the form since then has been hit and miss overall. He's down to a mark of 68, so whether that's going to be enough to inspire a little bit of a change, we will find out tonight, but the recent evidence suggests that maybe not. And the final horse who is in the paddock is number 1, Dance to Paris. Now, she's dropped to her lowest mark in 3 years. She obviously needs to show a little bit more than she has been showing just recently, but the run at Lingfield last time out wasn't too bad. I thought that was a much better effort. She had travelled quite nicely, then got into a little bit of trouble, Dance to Paris. So considering where she is in the handicap, Mark, she will definitely, I think, be on my shortlist. The one I didn't unfortunately get a look at was Wannabe Brave of James Fanshaw's, who clearly is the one that they all have to beat. The market suggests that, considering the pedigree and the fact that he finally got up to winning ways last time out. He comes from a good, strong, staying pedigree, and there's no doubt that he's going to have more to come for such a lightly raced individual in this sort of contest. So horses on the way to post. We'll chat more in due course. We're seeing Wannabe Brave just heading down, and this is a horse you imagine that this race is centred around. Danny Muscat, who's had a winner on the card earlier on today, did well with the steering on Perfect Gentleman after the tack broke. So Wannabe Brave actually broke his maiden at the 5th time of asking over course and distance in November. He's £3 higher, but he comes from a really good family. Wannabe Special on the dam side, related to Wannabe Posh, etc. Wannabe Yours. There's a fair deal of stamina there as well, and obviously he proved his stamina when winning over this trip back in November. You imagine he comes from the James Fanshawe team. He's been a slow burner, came to life last time out. You would think that he's got scope off his mark in the handicap at the moment, and so Wannabe Brave is an obvious contender for this race. Looking through some of the alternatives, well, Bassinet is closest to him in the market. Bassinet has had a really good spell for the stable. Won a couple of times at Chelmsford. He's gone up £3 recently. This is only his second run over 2 miles, but he has won his only other start over 2 miles. So you could argue the case that Bassinet might have a bit of improvement over this trip, considering that he's still relatively unexposed over 2 miles. So there's no doubt that Bassinet is in good form, and hopefully he can continue that good form over this distance. There's been a bit of money for Dance to Paris, and I'm not surprised, really. She has dropped to her lowest mark in 3 years, Dance to Paris, and she has to show a little bit more than she's been showing recently, but I'm certain that the run at Lingfield last time out, there was enough evidence in that to suggest that she might be close to showing something like her best form. She travelled quite nicely on that occasion, and then she was just a little bit short of room when things started getting serious, and ultimately she was beaten, was it 4.5 lengths behind First Emperor there. So I could see Dance to Paris being in the mix here. If she is anything like her best form, that handicap mark is very attractive. Also, looking at some of all the alternative, Stiletto for Kieran Burke has a bit to find with a few rivals. I mean, the form ties in with Wanna Be Brave, ties in with Pleasure Garden and Thibault, but there's not much between Stiletto and the likes of Pleasure Garden, and Thibault was behind, obviously, Wanna Be Brave. So perhaps another horse that you can see in the mix, but whether enough to win is a question mark. I mentioned the Pleasure Garden, who was third to Mucker Magic at Lingfield. Thibault and Stiletto were behind. He maybe finally finding his form again. He had a bit of a layoff last summer, and so it's possible that Pleasure Garden, after a couple of runs, might now be ready to show a little bit more for John Best and Karen Jewell. Luke Morris is in the saddle. Others that definitely worthy of mentions. Also, I've mentioned Thibault a couple of times in relation to the likes of Pleasure Garden and Stiletto, because Thibault ran okay behind Mucker Magic when finishing fourth at Lingfield last month. He's actually a pound lower. But question mark against him is he's never won on the all-weather. I think he's had 6 starts on the all-weather. He's won over hurdles. He's been placed in chases. So questions about his suitability for this service. Anyway, not many more left to go forward. Wanna Be Brave, the one for me. Here's John.
Gates back, and away they go. They are racing a little bit slowly away. First Charge, the blue and yellow colours, and also taken back in the early stages, Oriental Art. But as they go through the early parts of the Unibet Extra Place offers everyday handicap, it's Stiletto who's come through to lead, to Bassinet up the inside, who often likes to be ridden positively, and Mia Nichols, who takes off the £7 tonight, has taken Bassinet into the lead in the red colours to Stiletto, on the heels of that one in second. Then round the outside in third, Thibault, followed by the green of Wanna Be Brave. Then the white and red colours of Pleasure Garden. Towards the outside, Dance to Paris, and then First Charge up the inner. Gauntlets in the blue and pink colours towards the rear of the field, and Oriental Art is right at the back. So they're making the turn and heading on down the home straight, still with well over a circuit to go. It's Bassinet who leads by about 2.5 lengths to Stiletto, who's racing in second. Thibault in the black and orange colours is in third. The green of Wanna Be Brave, the favourite, lobs along nicely in fourth. Just a little bit more out on a limb down the centre of the track is Dance to Paris. They're then followed by Pleasure Garden, and then First Charge, the yellow cap. Gauntlet, the pink cap, last but one, and still at the rear of the field is Oriental Art. So it's Bassinet with this very light weight on his back who's the leader, and still out in front by about 2.5 lengths to, in second position, Stiletto. They're then followed in third by Thibault, who's now just drawn alongside Stiletto. Then Wanna Be Brave, who's covered up right on the inside rail. Pleasure Garden on that one's outside. Dance to Paris rather wide round this turn. They're then followed by First Charge, who's been held up throughout by Ross Coakley. Also towards the back of the field there at the moment is Gauntlet, and still right at the rear of the field is Oriental Art. So it's Bassinet who continues to lead by a couple of lengths as they make their way past the mile start. To, in second position, Stiletto, the sheepskin noseband. Then Thibault towards the outside, Wanna Be Brave still nestled there on the rail in fourth. Then Pleasure Garden towards the outer in fifth. Now just making a bit of headway. Dance to Paris, the purple cap, has been wide throughout, but still races relatively prominently. Then First Charge, followed then by Gauntlet, and still at the back of the field, Oriental Art, in a race, the order of which hasn't changed a great deal as they go past their point of departure. Bassinet just coming back to the field a little bit. Maybe Mia Nichols trying to hang on to into something for the latter stages, to Stiletto, who's been the pursuer throughout. Then Tybalt towards the outside, the black and orange colours. Wannabe Brave is still getting a nice run through this. Daniel Muscat just waiting patiently. Dance to Paris has had a more torrid trip round the outside. In between the pair, the red cap of Pleasure Garden. Then First Charge still towards the rear of the field, along with Gauntlet, and still at the back is Oriental Art. Starting to make the turn. Inside the final 4 furlongs they go. And it's Bassinet and Mia Nichols who lead. To Tybalt racing on the outside in second. Now just driven along in third, Stiletto. Pleasure Garden now makes headway into fourth spot. Wannabe Brave just being shunted back now and just exercising his rider's arms a little bit as they make the swing for home. So it's Bassinet with this very light weight on its back who still leads. To in second position Tybalt. Now Pleasure Garden peeled out for a run in third. Stiletto trying to get going in fourth. They're ganging up on this long time leader who's just hanging towards the centre of the track. Bassinet difficult to steer from the back of the field. Gauntlet is now getting into gear down the centre of the track. Bassinet is trying to battle back. Then Wannabe Brave over on the far side, Oriental Art as well. Then after that, Pleasure Garden. Inside the closing stages they go, and it's Gauntlet who's kicking on now, leads by 2 or 3 lengths and racing up towards the line. Gauntlet, patiently ridden by Jamie Spencer, is going to go on and score. In the end, First Charge got up for second. Bassinet was third. Wannabe Brave, flattered to deceive, but only finished in fourth.
Well, Gauntlet went into the race a maiden, but has come home comfortably in front, picked up nicely under Jamie Spencer to win pretty comfortably in the end. This is a really good training performance as well. First run since August 2021, and has beaten First Charge with Bassinet, who dictated things out in front, back in third. Wannabe Brave only fourth, but Gauntlet for William Knight, a son of Galileo, a really good pedigree, has been off for a long time, missed all of 2022, returns for an impressive win. Look at this stage, turning into the straight, has a fair bit to do and already off the bridle, but picks up in really good style under Jamie Spencer down the outside. Bassinet out in front. Thought that Mia Nichols just slowed things down and was trying to quicken things up once again. And to be fair to Bassinet, has run really well in defeat, but in the end couldn't see them all off. And look at the way that Gauntlet powers away from the rest of the field in the closing stages. In the end, he's just pricking his ears at the line, and Jamie Spencer hasn't been that hard on him in the closing stages, but it took him a while to hit top stride. Running on well was First Charge for Mark Loughnane, horse who won back in November 2021, and had come down in the handicap as well, First Charge. But tremendous training effort from William Knight, and well done to Jamie Spencer on this horse, who took a bit of time to get going, but in the end he has won really nicely. Gauntlet was a maiden, isn't anymore, and has won on his first run since August 2021.
Yes, and that's a whole 535 days off the track, so congratulations, I think, are in order for William Knight. An excellent effort to get Gauntlet back and to win for the first time as well. Clearly he's improved a little bit in that lengthy hiatus. Steve, let's take it from the start.
Yeah, it always looked like the bottom horse Bassinet would make the running, and Mia Nichols, who knows this horse very well, jumped out and got to the lead and set what looked to be a decent enough, a solid gallop, a consistent gallop. And that's clearly suited Gauntlet, who's got that incredible pedigree as a half-brother of Daydream and by Galileo, and started off life at Aidan O'Brien's but didn't last very long after a couple of starts, and then had 6 runs for Billy Knight in 2021, including over 2 miles to at Pontefract, so clearly stays very well, and it's clearly got a bit of class, because you don't win races around Kempton no matter how fast they go, and I think they're going in a solid, consistent kind of pace for this around here. Sometimes you get a crawl, but I don't think that's this. But Gauntlet's come from the back